Poisonrana. Poisonrana.
First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT, postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those fun podcast apps, and we are live.
YouTube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? How you doing?
Yes, hello. Davie, we do an NXT podcast, and you decided to go away on a vacation the week NXT decides to go back on the road. You decided, I figured you would make a pit stop in North Carolina on your way to Cuba, but that was not the case.
I decided to go when it was -25 in Toronto to go to somewhere that's +28. And
this is fair.
Yeah, it's pretty nice over here.
Well, I'm very glad. We didn't go live last night, so I can't really call this a post show. So I know John and Way are like, we can't call it that, but it's the next day review show. We decided, look, we took time off to watch the Rumble, but NXT doesn't deserve that anymore on a Saturday night. So that's why we're here on a Sunday. So welcome anyone here live in the chat. And we're going to talk about some Vengeance Day.
Yes,
here
we
today.
are. Yeah.
Everyone has vengeance.
Yeah, times are great. Yeah, it's sun is shining here, and Fallon, Henley, and Kiana James are your new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. What more could a boy want?
This is true. We're in the golden age of NXT now, going into the future. It's crazy that NXT is on the road again, and it's pretty cool. Stopping in North Carolina for a one-off kind of pay-per-view isn't necessarily the way I'd figure it to go, but I mean, now going forward, they've full on announced that they're going to be doing the same thing, but for WrestleMania weekend.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean it's not the way you thought it would go?
I feel like I don't know. I watched this show, and I'm not saying the crowd wasn't like into it, but I figured when they would finally go back on the road that it would be, I don't know, maybe they would just wait. I am, I guess, happy that they didn't just wait all the way until WrestleMania. It's cool that they're back on the road. It's really cool that they've been doing house shows and like the coconut loop and stuff like that again, and beyond that. But I feel like this one, it felt kind of like, okay, let's just not do it the weekend with the Rumble, but do it a completely separate city. Like, it's cool that it's on their own, but it still is not like this was a former TV special we've seen the past few times. It just feels like it wasn't the like, oh, okay, that's what they're going with. All right, like cool.
I mean,
cool.
I think that's very deliberate. I think it's a way to see how this brand stands up on its own. If you are going to a WrestleMania weekend, you probably do all the things around it, whether you watch NXT or not. There's combo packages and things like that. I think this was maybe a test to see how does this version of NXT stand up on its own in a market with no other wrestling events going on there that weekend. And I thought obviously this is a pretty huge, pretty big arena. It wasn't sold out. They kind of scaled it down, but I thought it looked pretty decent on TV. The shots they did, it looked pretty full. I thought crowd sounded quite good. It was quite interesting to me seeing what kind of characters are over outside of Full Sail. Outside of the CWC, and which characters aren't, and what stories people are following. I imagine a lot of people at this show were probably like, oh, WWE's in town, let's go, and maybe don't follow NXT. But I thought there was a sizable amount who did seem to know what was going on. Acts like Chase U, who seemed to be pretty over with this crowd. Like Grayson Waller in that main event, getting a pretty audible split reaction from this crowd. So I think it was probably a test, and I think it's a good thing they're going to be doing more of these. This is a developmental brand, and part of that is getting these, as much as it's, learning where the hard cam is. I think a lot of it is learning how you'll cope in front of this big stage, rather than just your very supportive CWC regulars you see every week. So yeah, I was interested by it. I don't know why they kept on saying it was the first time in like over 1,000 days they were on the road, because I'm pretty sure Stand and Deliver was in Dallas last year. Just
It was.
classic WWE revisionist history, but I think they maybe meant first time like as its own thing, which is its first time since NXT Takeover Portland, which, if I remember correctly, was that when Adam Cole won the title from Johnny Gargano, which seems a lifetime ago.
That's what I was kind of getting. It's like that's what they were promoting. Like, yeah, it's been over 1,000 days since it's just been a whole NXT show, no WWE kind of thing. And that I'm like, okay, it took this long to come back, and this is where we landed kind of thing. It was like, okay, cool. Like, I didn't know is there a way to look every Tuesday night? Like, do I go to postwrestling.com or WrestleNomics the next day to see like the demographic? Were they like, North Carolina really loves watching NXT on Tuesday nights. Let's shift that show. And I mean, hey, maybe because people showed up to this venue for sure. So we're going to jump into some,
maybe a market that they haven't run a pay-per-view there recently or stuff like that. So they are like, if you put this maybe in a New York or a Chicago where they get wrestling every other week, maybe it wouldn't do so well. If you put it in a market that doesn't have your big pay-per-views, it may be like one of those things. Kind of like, Dynamite coming to Toronto. Man, it would have been cool to have had a pay-per-view, but, well, it's wrestling, it's here, and we haven't seen AEW here yet, so let's go. I don't know. It would be interesting to find out kind of the reasoning behind picking this arena in North Carolina.
Well, we're going to jump into Vengeance Day. I will say we will be going live Tuesday night following NXT, but Davie is going to take a day off. So I will be joined by John Siino from Shot in the Dark. So Tuesday night, we will be going live on the Post Wrestling feed. And I would advise everyone to check us out on Poisonrana over on our feed, because we do so many other shows there, so many free shows, including our weekly show. This week, we're usually doing it in this time slot because of NXT. We're here today, but we will be back next week to talk all about the world of wrestling and Dynamite and all that stuff. Maybe we'll give some Dynamite thoughts at the end of this show. So go check us out over there, because Valentine's Day, Vengeance Day is in the air. And we decided to re-release a Patreon show for free over on our feed, talking about the top 5 moments of love. And I'd advise everyone to go check it out, because it was I re-listened to it, uploading it, and I was like, wow, we say some ridiculous things and talk about all the wrestling weddings. So if you're in that mood and spirit,
wrestling weddings are something, when you get a wedding promoted on wrestling TV, that you're gonna have some car crash, Jerry Springer-esque television, and we love how bad it is most of the time. And there have been some very, very memorable moments of love in wrestling. So yeah, go and check that out. And it's actually a great lead-in to our show we've just released on our Patreon, which is Best Match Ever, Stephanie McMahon, as we do talk a lot about Steph on this Moments of Love show. And then we go into more of the technical classics the McMahon daughter has had. So that is all there on the Patreon for you to listen to as well.
Classics like her SummerSlam match against Brie Bella.
Oh yes.
Classics like her 18-second match against Jacqueline, where she won the title. We cover it all. So yeah, we're in Stephanie McMahon mode, but we're all grown up.
Joined by the great Matty Edwards from Grapple on that one, which was really fun chatting to.
Yeah, so go check that out as well. We podcast a lot about a lot of other things, not just NXT. So yeah. Let's talk about some Vengeance Day though from last night. Let's talk about NXT Vengeance Day from Saturday, February 4th. We mentioned from North Carolina, from the Spectrum Center here, and we kick off with a video in Charlotte with Charlotte Flair. Here she is. I thought that they said it was Charlotte Flair. I couldn't quite recognize her, but I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, Charlotte."
She looks different every time I see her. Yeah,
every time I see her on TV, I was like, "Oh yeah, she's the champ, right?" And Charlotte here with this produced intro video, talking about welcoming us, welcome NXT's back on the road, and kind of her promoing all the matches here tonight and a few woos in there.
As all the talent were kind of in their matches, kind of facing off as if it's, like a big fight press conference where they're squaring off with Charlotte in the middle. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool using Charlotte in Charlotte.
This is when they reference, when they cut to the crowd, hot crowd in Charlotte, as Vic Joseph says, it's been 1,084 days since TakeOver Portland, when that was the last kind of standalone NXT show. So yeah, a long time ago. Portland. Wow, all the hot wrestling cities are getting the big NXT shows. Portland to North Carolina. Yeah. We start off though with the North American Championship. I mean, this is the workhorse title. If you're traveling state to state, this is the title, really, because it's the North American Championship. And the champ, Wes Lee, is going to defend against Dijak. Don't call him Donovan Dijak. Don't call him T-Bar.
T-Bar, yeah.
Unless you're Twitter and Elon Musk, who have they switched that yet? Remember, he's been tweeting
to change his name. He's like, once T-Bar, always T-Bar. Yeah,
Dijak's
they won't give justice here. He needs justice from Elon Musk, I think, first.
He needs to get that handle changed back, but he can't. Yeah, but he is fighting for the North American title here tonight, and the crowd are pretty hot here. I will say, Dijak with this new character is already kind of dead on arrival for me. I've always loved his wrestling, but now they've given him the Karrion Kross entrance. When you go create a wrestler in your video game in your 2K, and you go, oh yeah, creative wrestler entrance number 18. Like, oh yeah, that's carrying crosses. That's what they've done to Dijak.
There's a lot of like just lack of originality with this character, and Dijak I do think he's a big, like, domineering looking guy, and I think they've just gone such a generic character seeking justice. Justice for what? We don't really know. Like, none of his promos have made any real sense. The story here of just asking Wes Lee to just give him the championship because that would be good for justice, it's been pretty weak. But I think we also know on a big stage what these two guys are capable of. So the storytelling going to this match has really not been there. I'm with you. The entrance, the look, the gear just isn't right. And I think this guy is capable of more. But I was genuinely looking forward to see how these two mesh together.
Yeah, I think we were saying like the build to this was kind of lame. Since Dijak coming back, we were like, okay, cool, let's see some good wrestling. But the stories, the character has been so lame. Also, am I crazy? Dijak reminds me of Gronk. Like, are they related? They look kind of similar.
He's like Gronk's moodier brother.
Yeah, Gronk's brother who's like thinks he's a cop, but really he's not.
Yeah.
That's what this guy's gimmick is right now. Are you a cop? No. Oh, okay, cool. That's what you do. He didn't bring out his notebook. Probably what cost him this match, to be honest. So Wes Lee defending against Dijak here. And well, these guys start off and like you said, Dijak's like, hey, why don't you just lay down? Do yourself a favor. Save yourself the beating I'm going to give you. Just lay down. So Wes pretends to lay down, but psychs him out and kicks him in the head. They start to brawl when eventually Wes jumps to the outside. Dijak catches him and hits him with a DVD on the outside.
That looked
there's
like
then
he
Dijak
almost
just
dumped him on the head there. It looked pretty nasty, that Valley driver.
Dijak was ragdolling Wes here, just like throwing him around, like throwing him out, beeling him outside of the ring, and Wes was just flopping around. Eventually, Wes comes back with this huge deadlift German, and then this backdrop to the apron where Dijak, that definitely looked like it hurt. There's the huge handspring into like a leg drop guillotine tope con hilo thing. This was very impressive. Booker T on commentary marked out from this. And then back in the ring goes for the handspring, but into the feast your eyes. But then that's countered into the best wrestling move known to man, the Poisonrana. But that's only a 2 count. There's then this huge
transition. Was awesome. He did it. What's he call it? The flip flop fly or something? The like handspring backflip
handspring kick,
which got caught into this feast your eyes, which somehow he popped up into this Poisonrana. I thought was so smooth. Looked pretty great, I thought, and got this show off to a hot start.
If it wasn't enough, there was then this like fisherman sit out Buster Michinoku thing from that was awesome. Dijak comes back with the high justice, and then a chicken wing, super popular again in wrestling. The chicken wing, and Wes sells it as if he's about to fade, but he gets out of it. He gets a few near falls. There's then a spike like powerbomb counter into a Rana. Definitely Dijak landing kind of on his head here.
Off the like
and then
rope here.
Yeah. There's then a spiral tap, but Dijak kicks out of that again. And again, Booker T is losing his mind. Like, how did he kick out of that? Dijak then somehow gets up and puts Wes in a chair, like one of the seated commentary chairs, and then puts like something to block him from getting out of it. And it looks like he's going to moonsault off the top onto the chair when Tony D'Angelo and Stax show up out of nowhere through the crowd, shove Wes out of the way, and take the bullet for Wes Lee here, eating this moonsault as Dijak gets pissed and says, stay out of my business. When he goes back in the ring, he's met with Wes, who fights back and hits the what is it? What did you say it's called?
Does he call it the flip-flop fly, or did I might have just made that up? But yeah, it's his backflip handspring Pele kick.
Exactly that. And nails Dijak back of the head. 1, 2, 3. And Wes Lee is still your NXT North American champion by beating Dijak in 17 minutes and 1 second.
I actually really loved this match. I thought this to me felt like a takeover level opening match here. I thought they both went really hard. Some of those spots on the floor, especially like that Death Valley driver and that backdrop from the apron, look great. Some of their counters of counters, I thought worked really well.
Yeah.
Dijak playing a great kind of Goliath to Wes Lee's David here. And yeah, I really got into it. Some really great near falls towards the end. I could have done, I think we were expecting the Tony D stuff. It felt a little hokey with the chair and the kendo stick and Tony and Stacks. I could have maybe done without that or something a bit more creative with their interference. Other than that, I thought this was excellent. My match of the night. My one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry. Go for it.
No, I was gonna say I feel the same way. I think everything was going really well, and as soon as he's trying to trap a guy in the chair, the rolling chair, I'm like, all right. And then Tony D and him come out. I'm like, okay, I guess we you virtue signaled that something like this was gonna happen, but I did make me groan because I was really into the wrestling, and I thought Wes and Dijak were gelling really well together. Like you said, like the whole match there's not a lot of stopping, and it only slowed down when he decides to put him in a chair and moonsault on him. Just a very odd finish, to be honest. And I'm not sure what the move is. I would have to look this up. But after the match, when Dijak is laying there on the mat, he raises his hand and revealing, man, Dijak's got some big fingers. Oh, one of them is going the other way.
Okay, I thought I imagined this.
Gasped.
Yeah. Oh my word.
Man. He's since posted. He's got an X-ray. It is in fact broken. He has broken a finger from this match and somehow continued. Sin Cara, he is not. Sin Cara, eat your heart out here. Yeah, Dijak seemingly breaking a finger during this match and still he didn't get the win, but still,
yeah,
wow.
I do think I kind of worry for Dijak's future here. I think Wes Lee is someone who I'm enjoying his North American title run, and I'm sure he can have some more like fantastic matches. But he's fresh, he's new. I think if he were to drop this title, I think there are still stories for him. There's still the opportunity to move up. Whereas Dijak moving down, going through so many character changes, and then losing this match, and especially coming out with an injury, I don't know what you do with him from now on. He's been in the system for quite a while. Whereas if he won this and kind of went on a few month tear as being a dominating champion, rehab himself again, he could move up perhaps. I don't see what there is for this guy moving forward, which is a shame because I genuinely enjoy his wrestling, but I kind of think maybe that ship sailed now at this point.
Yeah, look, this match was great. I feel kind of the same way about both these characters. Dijak, the rehash of a rehash is just not working. It's so silly with the again, he didn't have his notepad, so he didn't know how to win this match clearly. But we're also going to go forward with the Tony D Wes, like I imagine a triple threat in some way, or Fatal 4-Way, maybe even with Stacks. But the wrestling, the bell to bell here, this was probably my favorite of the night, and came out on top. And then as soon as it's over, I'm like, oh yeah, the storyline was pretty weird. But the guy's probably going to be fine here in doing these kinds of matches. I mean, you'll get the crowd on your side, as they both did after this. Like the crowd ate this up for sure, and we're kind of needed to chill afterwards, because there was some pretty crazy spots in there that like wouldn't really be topped the rest of the night. That like I think the crowd were like kind of spent pretty early with some of the stuff here. But yeah, probably my match of the night as well. I was really shocked with how much I liked it. It was good.
I will say on another point, I quite liked the set they had for this show. It wasn't quite the same setup they used for Raw and SmackDown. It had kind of this like round scaffold. Everything was lit up red. The screen went right across. I thought it kind of reminded me of some of those old school WWF sets we had in the 2000s. So I thought the show looked pretty good as well.
Yeah, I like the feel. Obviously going with Vengeance, they're using that old Vengeance logo, the WWE one, but like with the red and the little thing and red lights everywhere. Yeah, it was pretty good. We see a picture, I loved this, of the NXT Orlando Performance Center crew all in like the one big gym area, all on folding chairs with NXT Vengeance Day on a giant big screen for them all to watch. as it's just a picture, but like you can see if you were to look at it, all the different like PC talent, NXT talent, as Vic Joseph and Booker, or Vic Joseph on commentary is like, look, it's the WWE PC, all these young hopefuls like watching that, one day they'll be on a premium live event. And I'm like, wait a second, there's Tyler Bate, there's this person. Yeah, it's like I don't know if these are just like the next in line crew.
Exactly. He made it sound like it was your like new PC recruits, and there were some people that have been there for fucking years, and there was a big stars like Tyler Bate, who's done like one match of the year in NXT before.
Main evented. Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know, we've had comfier chairs at our watch parties at our place when we fit 20 people in. I don't know if I'd want to sit on this. You've been training all day, working out at the PC, and now you're sitting on a metal folding chair to sit through this near 3-hour pay-per-view. Sorry, PLE.
It's funny. It is pretty funny. Like, is this mandatory? Did you have to sit there and watch this show? Like, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they all support their friends anyways, but I'd still, find it pretty funny. Like, what it would be interesting to be a fly on the wall, to get some thoughts from all the wrestlers watching their friends and seeing what they liked and what they didn't like from the show. But it was funny seeing all these people and be like, oh, these up and coming stars. And I'm like, those are all people who've
I was expecting them to set up an angle. I thought they were going to have more of a camera in there, and it would keep on like going back to them in between matches. And because we've seen these angles set up through TikTok and at house shows and things like that, I thought they could have been a bit more clever with it. Maybe set up stuff for Tuesday.
Well, we get a little interview backstage. Katana Chance, Kayden Carter, the NXT Women Tag Champs, they are here and they have a match next. And they say that they're the longest reigning women's tag champs, not just in NXT, but in WWE history, which I guess is true. Are those titles still even in action? Are those titles still functioning?
Jeez, who are the champions? Oh, it's damage control.
Oh, right. Yes.
Oh, that was what I was going to ask. Do you think you could name all 15 North American champions, as Vic Joseph pointed out?
Champions. Okay. There was Adam Cole.
Yeah.
There was Riddle. There was Ricochet. There was Velveteen Dream. Remember that guy? Did he win the title?
He had the title.
Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
Twice, I think. Leo Rush. No, sorry. Leon Ruff. Leon Ruff, not Leo Rush. Leon Ruff.
Keith Lee.
Keith Lee. Dijak. No, he never won it.
Carmelo.
It's eluded
Dijak's
him his whole career.
Yeah, he's won nothing.
Yeah, as they kept making that the story as well. Dijak's always wanted this title that really didn't exist when he was here. But anyway, I don't know. I think I named a big chunk of it. I'm sure I'm missing someone.
Was Riddle champion?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Pretty sure he was.
Yeah.
Was he champion? Maybe not. No, maybe he wasn't. Maybe you're right.
I'm sure we could get it. Any more?
Yeah.
Yeah,
who else?
Mello. Who did Mello beat? Roderick Strong. He was North American champion for a bit. Was he? Yeah, he was North American champion.
Oh, yeah. Survivor Series, right? Yeah. Wow, look at us. Well, Kayden and Katana say that they don't want to sound cocky, but we've busted our asses for far too long, and that's why we're the longest reigning champs. We didn't just, fall into this. So we're ready to defend against best friends, enemies. It doesn't matter. We will beat them all. And again, kind of playing into the fact they're like kind of heels, even though they're supposed to be the baby faces. But yeah. Well, we go to the next match, the women's NXT tag title match. Katana and Kayden putting the titles on the line against Fallon, Henley, and Kiana James. A tale as old as time. Can Fallon, Henley, and Kiana James coexist here today? They come out with Briggs and Jensen getting that Vengeance Day money here, coming out in the entrance.
Jensen looked great here in his suit blazer, his shirt, his nice jeans. He's had a glow up for sure. And now more of a unified entrance with new music. They've got their kind of poses all down, the four of them. I quite like this team.
I like how when they make their entrance, Kiana James comes out and she's got like, because she's all business, right? She's got this like purse or bag or something like that. And Jensen's now a side piece to his gimmick is he's now the boyfriend who holds the purse, like all the time. You know, when you go to a mall or a store and you're like, that guy's been sitting here for a while, or this guy's been holding this purse for a while. That's Jensen's new gimmick here. But the storyline has been that she was like, what, buying him new shirts, like, you know, helping him get look more like the part. So dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. I liked Briggs' like cow vest thing he was wearing. I didn't do it justice describing it that way. But.
Well, I think it's definitely deliberate because Briggs is definitely dressing still like, you know, you're like country boy who likes going to the pub and drinking beers, whereas Jensen's now looking like a bit more of a, you know, a upper like man about town, that kind of thing. So they're starting to like make them look quite different, and I imagine this rift is gonna grow over the next few months.
Well, Kayden and Katana do the Jon Moxley entrance, the Edge entrance through the crowd. It's not quite the rave I think they were expecting it to be, but they come through the crowd here. And then this match starts off. Kayden and Fallon Henley start off here, and Kayden gets the best of her early on. And then, how do I put this? Shakes her ass in her face, and then turns around, gets close to Jensen, who's ringside, and then shakes her ass in his face as the commentary remind us that, you know, these two have history, and that Kayden is now teasing Jensen because, you know, everyone knows that they have history here. And Booker's like, oh, for real? Like, yo, Jensen and Kayden? And Vic is like, well, Book, you know, like he got friend zoned. And Book's like, so wait, you're saying that they hooked up? It's like me when I ask, wait, kayfabe wise though, Tori Wilson, Tajiri, and he's like, no, Book, friend zoned. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
I gotta give you your flowers there, Braden, for calling up that pass between these two on last week's show.
Right.
I gotta say, Booker is growing on me. I think
me too.
I think his actual
what?
His clear, having never seen any NXT since before joining the brand, it actually works in a way sometimes, because maybe he's asking the questions that some audience members are asking that are new to the product. Like the first time he saw Tyler Bate wrestle the other week, where he was like, whoa, this kid's amazing. And here he's like, what, these two hooked up? What's going on? I actually think he can be overbearing at times, but in moments, I definitely think he's been improving and add something to the broadcast.
I gotta say tonight he was in rare form. I actually thought Booker brought it all night. He was giving me little tidbits, but him acting really surprised that for a second he thought like me. Like I always, if you listen to our shows, kayfabe wise is the bit we do where it's like, did these wrestlers hook up in real life, or was that storyline?
Really?
Yeah, kayfabe wise, you know, maybe I don't, you know. But him joking here where Vic had to like remind him like, no, friend zone. It's like, it was pretty funny. So Kayden's trying to get like a rise out of Fallon here, but eventually Fallon gets pretty angry, tags in Kiana, who starts using heel tactics, and Fallon isn't really about that shit. She's like, hey, stop pulling her hair and stop like hot tagging in and basically saying like, I don't want to fight dirty, even though Kiana's like, well, that's how we're gonna win this match. Kiana gets Katana and Kayden. She's tagging in and out, and Kiana does the RVD shoulder tackles into the corner. That like the thrust and then the backflip into the third one, which looked pretty nice. And then Kiana goes to the outside with Fallon as Katana runs around the outside, and Kayden pops her up into the air, and Katana does this like crossbody running onto both of them, which looked pretty good. Back in the ring, it looked like Katana got like hit in the face or something, that where she reacted and was, unless this is just really fantastic selling, I imagine Katana Chance walked out of this match with an injury of some sort, because she was selling as if her face or something, I don't know if it was her jaw or something, that was just pain. The ref kept going to her, talking to her. She was off the apron for a while as well, but she still continued this match and did some pretty impressive moves. There's like double teams from the champs, moonsaults. There's like a a sweet combo from Fallon and Kiana. This could have been a finisher where Fallon's hitting a Michinoku driver as Kiana then power bombs the same person who's getting hit with the like that was
I don't think
sweet.
I've seen this before. I thought it looked
No.
excellent. Really good.
Kayden breaks it up though, so it's not the deciding factor. Kayden then hits a jumping cutter off the apron on Kiana. There's then an avalanche Rana from Katana on Fallon for a near fall. There's then Fallon who counters a counter and rolls up Kayden, but without her knowledge, Kiana is ringside and holds down the legs and the feet, trapping Kayden to allow Fallon to get the 1, 2, 3. And that means we have new NXT Women's Tag Champions in 9 minutes, 20 seconds. Fallon Henley and Kiana James, by hook or by crook, are your new champs.
I really enjoyed this. I'd say this is probably my second favorite match of the night. I thought this match, as soon as the bell rung, just didn't stop. There was some really nice flow, some really like innovative double teams from both teams. I think Kayden and Katana have been quite known for coming up with some cool moves. Like they did that like super avalanche Rana off the top, off like the shoulders off the top, which I thought looked great.
Yeah.
That Michinoku driver you mentioned. And I thought the finish, whereas kind of I groaned in the first match with the interference, I thought this one was actually done really well. Just the placement of everything. Kiana just happening to be there right at the last second to grab the ankles. And continues that story of, you know, one being slightly more heelish in the team. I thought it worked really nicely, and I enjoyed this match. I thought all four rose up to the stage.
Yeah, and you know what? I know that we've watched Katana and Kayden grow for so long. They've definitely found their groove when it comes to the wrestling, and I do think that maybe healing it up would be maybe like the right next step. But however, it seems Kiana and Fallon might be going in that direction if this title reign like continues on. But yeah, it was interesting and kind of freshens some things up and gets exciting. I actually think Kiana James and Fallon Henley are fantastic. Both of them we've said before they've been linked together in this storyline, we're like, oh, we think highly of these two, and now they're put together. And watching this match, like you just said, the in-ring work was really good here, and having them be the base for Kayden and Katana really gelled as well. But I see really big things for Fallon Henley and for Kiana James. Either one, they could be future WWE Women's Champions.
Me too. I mean, I know Fallon's been on the independent scene for a little bit. Kiana, I don't believe so. I think she's a PC recruit, and I think we sing Tiffany Stratton's praises a lot for how quick she's taken to it. And I think Kiana James as well, like, you know, character-wise and in-ring work, and always just looks better every time she's in there.
But yeah, new champs, and going forward, she doesn't quite know how they won it yet. She doesn't know that they were cheeky and doing sleazy things to win, but we'll find out, and that's the storyline going forward. We have a video, not necessarily the social media star I thought they would throw to, because every week on NXT lately they've been using the TikToks and the Instagram reels to promote storylines and stuff. Here's Drew Gulak talking about his social media. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Which then really popped me here. It's Drew Gulak hanging out with his student Hank Walker, and they mentioned that, you know, Drew's been training with Hank and he's trying to make a star out of Hank, and says, Hank, you look like you're here to repair my sink. You need ring attire. I'm building a superstar, not a house.
Hallelujah.
Wow, does Drew listen to us every week? What did we call? I think we've been calling him like Peter Griffin. I don't remember. Seth Rogen. I don't think we called him necessarily
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yeah.
Finally, look, I used to help coach like kids tennis, and I remember sometimes like a kid would show up in jeans, and like right away you'd be like, hey, never show up in jeans again. Get, you know, tracksuit bottoms or shorts. Get like sport attire. Like this guy's been wrestling for a couple of months now. Like finally he's getting some ring gear. What do you see him in? A nice singlet, do you think? Some long boys?
Long boys? He's gonna wear trunks. Yeah, what would Hank wear? I think a double singlet would good. Hank looks like he's someone who wants to take the straps down.
Yeah,
Hulk up,
I see
Hank
that.
up, Yeah, I'm glad he's doing okay. It looked like he got busted open last week in that match
He
with
did, yeah.
Regal Jr. I am intrigued in that storyline, and I do, however, see the end game that it's Hank getting like kicked out of like Drew eventually kicking him out of here. Like, you know what? I don't like you or
Yeah.
something like that. We get another video from Lyra Valkyria, and she's answering the question that we had last Tuesday. Hey, Cora Jade, didn't we have a match? What happened to that match that we were supposed to have? And Lyra says, hey, Cora, you said you were going to teach me my place, and well, you didn't show up. So it looks like I'm going to have a match this Tuesday on NXT, and it's an open challenge. And if anyone wants to step up, we will see who will soar. Of course, the bird lady has to make references to fly
Yes.
in this thing. But yeah, we were joking like, hey, what happened to that match? They did not reference it last week, but we will be getting it, I guess, in the near future.
Surprised as well, Cora Jade just not on this show at all. She was on the poster. I think she's one of the bigger stars in this NXT since the like 2.0 rebranding. So kind of weird she's not on this like first big show back.
Yeah, true. I do think maybe she's still the match for Cora at Stand and Deliver, but
Yeah.
I think they've cooled off on Cora quite a bit, or at least letting Roxanne kind of have her moment separate from that. We go into our next match and we get a video for it, and we go to August 2015. I think this is Breaking Ground, that NXT WWE show. We see videos of Apollo Crews, and he's at his first takeover, and he's blown away wrestling in front of huge crowds. And it shows Apollo Crews through the years in WWE, winning titles, WrestleMania, all that fun stuff, and then showing how he's made it here back to NXT. And then we get the feud storyline with Apollo Crews showing up at the barbershop, even though he doesn't have hair on his head, which sets up this not on paper number one contenders match, but I think everyone knows that this is the number one contenders match. 2 out of 3 falls. Carmelo Hayes versus Apollo Crews. Trick Williams comes out. I think he borrowed this shirt from 1999 Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah.
Or he stripped a disco ball and stuck it all over this shirt. But wow, what a shirt. What a beautiful, beautiful shirt. Trick comes out, introduces
Booker was
Carmelo
enamored
Hayes.
by it because he was going on about this shirt, and Vic was like, let's call the match.
There's a
Let's
match.
call
Yeah.
Book.
It was a flashy shirt. I got to give it to him. Then Melo's entrance is like, there's like these screens, but it's like fake banners, as if you're at like an arena or something with your sports teams. I thought this was pretty sweet. And he comes out wearing like Apollo's face with the X's over it, as we've seen him do before. So a dead man on his t-shirt as he takes it off and then steps on it and walks off, which was a pretty cool. And then Apollo's entrance shows clips of his history, and then a close-up and a zoom-in of his eyes. And then his music hits Apollo, which did not fit the video whatsoever. And then Apollo Crews comes out wearing red contact lenses.
I hate contacts in wrestling. It never looks good. Do you remember like Sean Spears did this for a bit, and I think it just looks lame. Unless you're like a demon like Kane and you do the whited out things, it never looks good to me.
Like the guy's gimmick is he sees the future. So, and he's made people have red eyes. He's made them look like they're super stoned, but now he's coming out with the red eyes. So I was not quite sure, like, does that mean now his vision is blurred because he's not sure if he's going to win this match? Or yeah. Well, this match starts off Melo and Crews. There's some great technical wrestling. They're definitely showing off here, going back and forth. Really, really impressive, like technical. Obviously, we've seen Crews for years with some, main roster kind of stuff, but Melo definitely backing up that he can go toe for toe with this guy. There's some pretty sweet counters back and forth. There's a German suplex off the ropes, almost like Kota Ibushi style from Apollo Crews here, and then sends Melo to the outside and hits a moonsault off the apron to a laid out Melo on the outside. That was pretty cool. Melo comes in and hits this counter, which like he pops up Crews to then like almost like stun gun him on the on the top rope, but then as he does it, he gun stuns him over the top rope in like the same swift fashion, like very quick, very impressive. It's just the little things that no one else really does. Melo then has wrist control and starts trash talking him here, hits a series of lariats and then suplexes, but then Cruz comes back with some German suplexes, and yeah, they're matching each other's styles really great here. This is when Cruz has the upper hand. Trick Williams, who's ringside, grabs a steel chair and then starts to kneel and pray as Melo's getting beat up. So he's praying that his boy Melo can pull it all together here. Cruz keeps trying to hit Melo with everything, but Melo keeps countering everything and eventually hits his satellite face buster, but Cruz kicks out of it, but somehow Melo transitions into the crossface, and Apollo Crews taps out for the first fall here. So as he's celebrating, the ref is like checking on them, and the match is gonna like restart for the second fall. And I noticed we were mentioning this is NXT's first show like on the road, not in the CWC over in Florida. There's like a whole group of people in the front section while this like few seconds while the match is kind of chilling for a sec, that are interacting with Trick Williams, and he says something to them, they say something back, and then the whole like section starts laughing, and the camera's still on Trick, and he's corpsing, he's dying laughing, and I'm like, what did they say to this guy that made Trick Williams just absolutely lose it? Because Trick is the one who definitely, I feel like last week Trick Williams saying the words booty meat on NXT had Melo corpsing live on TV. But I don't know what this crowd were saying to Trick, but I love the interaction. I think it was like, oh, I'm not used to this because these are people he's doing it usually to the same 30 people every week. Now it's fantastic. Like a whole arena.
He's so good as being like Melo's hype man, right from the entrance, which I thought was great, with him kind of announcing all of Melo's accolades and then just saying him to like, all the stuff he does. He's so quick. So got to do some Twitter digging there to see what he said.
What happened? I would like to know.
This first fall, it was interesting. It's not often we see Melo fight from underneath, but he was definitely kind of the underdog in this first fall, with Apollo getting most of the stuff in, and then we just saw that like relentless transitions from Melo from that satellite into the crossface. But weird. I know it's 2 out of 3 falls, so you often have that story of someone tapping to save themselves for the later falls. It's normally done the other way around with the heel tapping, and this crowd were booing this finish to the first fall, and I don't think it was because Melo is a heel, because he's one of those cool heels that everyone deep down really likes. I think they just thought it was a weak finish to the first fall. It was very odd, and kind of took me by surprise, Apollo tapping here.
Yeah, I think it's because we've seen Melo uses this move every match and never wins with this move. So maybe it's a bit like, commentary, obviously Vic jumping on it like, oh, well, Cruz is a vet. He's smart. He knows that if he stays in this move, he'll be hurt. So he tapped to keep the match going, and a classic commentary, mumbo jumbo. But it is weird. We joke about like when you have Iron Man match or elimination matches, and it's like, oh, a guy hits a DDT in every match and it's always a 2 count. But in one of these matches, it just happened to be a deciding factor. It's it's pretty funny. The match continues though. The second fall now. Apollo somehow fights back. There's more German suplexes, a standing star press, a jumping, flipping DDT, blockbuster Canadian Destroyer DDT thing, nice. Which looked nuts, but somehow Melo kicks out of that as well. Trick Williams decides to rip off one of the turnbuckle pads, and the ref doesn't see it, and it's Melo who gets thrown into it. And then things just take a kind of a more bizarre turn who is this? General Aziz?
General Aziz Dabba-Kato Babatunde. They identified him as Dabba-Kato here, which was his name in Raw Underground. Before they
remember Shane?
Yeah, sick.
What did sick? So Dabba-Kato's here, General Aziz, and he stops Trick from like interfering here. but then distracts Cruz, who's like, "Oh, thanks, man. You got my back. Wow. I really appreciate that, General Aziz. But I got to get back to this match." As he turns around and he's hit with the
Nothing but
Melo hitting him. Yeah. So Melo gets 2 falls in a row. A very rare occurrence in a 2 out of 3 falls match here, especially in NXT's specialty match. But Carmelo Hayes beats Apollo Crews in 23 minutes, 31 seconds. With a match angle to follow.
Yeah, I kind of hated this match, to be honest. I thought we've both been down on Apollo's like run in NXT so far. His character, the future stuff. But we also know this guy can go, and Melo doesn't miss. So and especially with the 2 out 3 falls stip, I thought the first fall was weird and a little weak with that finish. And then you said Vic Joseph putting over Apollo's veteran instincts by tapping to save himself for later. But then his veteran instincts are out the window where he's like, "Oh, it's my buddy. Ah, high five, buddy. Better say hello." Right, back to the match now and losing. Just weak. I love the idea of Melo winning 2 falls straight because I think we don't always see that. And I think to make a 2 out 3 falls match work, you do need to do that occasionally where someone wins 2 falls straight. So you're not always just going, all right, now Apollo's going to win and we go to the 3rd fall. And I think it gives him a lot of bragging rights moving forwards. But I just didn't like this match at all. I thought the end to both falls was weak. Sure, there was some cool stuff like that like blockbuster DDT you mentioned, some cool moves, but I need more than just cool moves. And this severely underdelivered and disappointed.
Yeah, it was really good for the first like 10 minutes. Like when it was just them wrestling, I was like, okay, great. Like the wrestling is so there. I thought that was pretty good. But and you know what? I know there's something going on with Carmelo Hayes. He's posted photos with MVP, and he also does the, like the ball and elbow thing. And this match reminds me of Judgment Day 2007, because I think that's the last time a 2 out of 3 falls match went 2 falls straight in a row.
There was one, I think I'd like to say SummerSlam 2014, I think, and it was Cesaro Dolph Ziggler, if I remember correctly.
Where he wins 2 in a row?
I think it was Cesaro won 2 in a row, yeah. But it's not done that often. But
yeah,
sorry,
but I think they were yeah.
In
Chris
2007, Benoit. Oh, right, okay. So I wasn't even doing a joke there.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was similar. It was with the crossface. I think Benoit tapped to the crossface, which was kind of a shock because MVP used it. So I'd have to look back, but my brain is telling me that something like that happened. However, Babatunde, General Aziz, we've been joking about this guy showing up. If Apollo's here, hey, maybe his bodyguard is here. Well, he is. After the match, he stands up and he's like, "Oh man, sorry I costed you the match, but hey, I'm here. What's going on?"
I'm back.
And they hug, and then he headbutts him, and then he does the sit out choke bomb onto a chair and stands tall and looks mean. Yeah, man, I was looking so forward to this match. Carmelo Hayes is definitely the future, and I think the next NXT champion. Obviously, Melo Bronn is the big NXT money match for Stand and Deliver, and I won't listen to anything otherwise. I think that's the big match. However, this was just so weird. After that first fall, the crowd definitely fell flat because, again, it's not like, oh, he won with this specific submission move, cool, whatever, but it just felt like there was a rift there that something was off. And then just bringing in the Fight Pit guy, the Raw Underground guy, the General Aziz guy, just like, get out of here. Like, why ruin something? And you already had Tony D and Stack show up in that other match. It's like, why are we doing this yet again? Oh, and the match before also had interference. It's like, this is a pay-per-view. Can we just get to the wrestling? And maybe it's because I had high hopes that this would be definite show stealer. It was a letdown for me, big letdown. Not by any means like awful, but just maybe my expectations were this should have been something that we were, going to be talking about for a while.
We've seen better matches on NXT TV.
Ever wanting to talk.
We have.
This past week had a better match than probably anything on this show, to be honest, with Axiom and Tyler Bates. So like, Yeah, I was a little let down by this match, but it's okay. I know Melo will step up, but I'm totally done with Apollo Crews. Like, get out of here. I don't want to see this feud at all.
Absolutely not. Dabba-Kato's been in the system for quite a while now. I'd like to say 4 or 5 years maybe, and never seen any improvement with this guy. I think of all the big guys they have there, he's by far the worst. And like I know on house shows they were having him paired with Cora Jade as like her Peter, which I thought would be more interesting. But I do not want to see this guy in a feud with Apollo Crews. That sounds awful. I almost think it would have been more interesting to have just had Apollo turn heel and be back with this guy. I think that would be more interesting, but I have no interest going forward with Apollo be this guy. And I kind of feel the same way with Apollo as I do with Dijak. Like, where do you go from here?
Also, it was just weird. I don't know if a cue was missed or something. Like he throws Trick off the turnbuckle, but then stands there. And then like that's what ends up costing Crews the match. And then like obviously it's revealed that like he was there purposely to cost him the match. It was just really, it felt so weird. I did not like that.
What was the point in doing the Melo into the turnbuckle spot? Like that they set it up as if Melo's going to lose the second fall from running in back first into the turnbuckle, but that went nowhere. It would have made more sense if, you know, Apollo went into the turnbuckle and then you thought he was going to lose and General Z's is there to help him out. I don't know. It just didn't work at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Rare miss. Melo don't miss. It wasn't his fault.
No.
It was the guy who with the contacts. Maybe Apollo, like I said, his vision was skewed because he was blocking it with those contacts. And that's why he did not know Commander Aziz was going to return. But I'm sure someone somewhere is really excited. Commander Aziz is back. We go to our next segment. Really, backstage, we see another one of these TikTok, Twitter videos from the PC. And it's Valentina Feroz and Wendy Chu. Hey, they're friends again. And Valentina says that she saw that Valkyria Open Challenge video and she accepts that challenge and will face her Tuesday night.
Welcome to my jungle, she says. That's her thing now. So the bird is going to be flying in Valentina's jungle.
I'm excited. Valentina's one to watch.
Actually.
Yeah,
absolutely. I expect some Cora Jade shenanigans in this match, but Elektra Lopez.
Elektra shenanigans. Yeah.
Who's a giant now. She looked about 10 foot tall behind these two. I imagine she was on a step or something, but you got Valentina and Wendy and then Elektra just towering up behind her.
I was kind of hoping Valentina turns heel, and maybe that's still something that could happen because I think that'd just be a little interesting for her character. She just seems too nice, though. That's why I want to see her.
I don't think her style is heelish at all.
Yeah,
like she'd have to like majorly change her ring style, and I think that would be a shame.
We go backstage and we see Briggs, Jensen, Fallon, and Kiana. They're all excited. Briggs has got the big bottles of bubbly, and they're ready to party. And Fallon's like, hey, well, Fallon still doesn't know. She doesn't know how they won this. She just thinks she got a roll-up victory. And she says, well, I don't know how we did this, but we did it. I'm so shocked. And Kiana looks over at Brooks Jensen and says, it was all Brooks' idea. Ooh, what does that mean? Does that mean that Brooks was like, yo, we need to cheat to win? So maybe Kiana's, infesting the young minds. However, they won, so they won. That's what matters, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it was him telling her to cheat. I think it was his idea for them to be together.
The team together,
so don't be mad at Brooks, because I know Fallon's been mad at Brooks. Like, for him, because he got the championship.
We go to a video for NXT Stand and Deliver, and it's going to be the night one or day one, I guess if you want to call it, of WrestleMania this year. And it's going to have a special start time of 1 p.m.
Yes, same as last year, I believe. So
yeah,
we'll figure that out come end of March, beginning of April.
I'm bummed. WrestleMania is on April Fools this year, right?
So, it's
night one.
Sunday, yeah.
I wanted to go to the Shrek rave.
Oh, is that
was coming?
That's on April 1st?
It's the same night. We could go after WrestleMania.
I imagine we'll be doing something for WrestleMania that day.
Yeah, the Shrek rave.
Okay.
You could be the gingerbread man.
I'm the donkey.
That's in April 1st, 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is pretty cool. That it's during the day, I guess. That's going to be a lot of wrestling, but we will obviously be covering that when the time comes. We go to a video for Black History Month here in WWE NXT, and they have a great video of Kofi Kingston and the whole Kofi Mania and Kofi Kingston winning the title at WrestleMania 35, a show and a moment we are both at live, and we've definitely talked about for a long time about being awesome. As then Vic and Booker T maybe breaking the kayfabe for about 0.3 seconds as he takes off his glasses, and he's kind of like, yeah, that was a pretty sick moment. And then goes, oh wait, we're live. Yeah, fuck Kofi Kingston.
he definitely toned down the stuff because he was putting over so many of Kofi's moves in the tag match as well.
Yeah,
which does make me think that spot was definitely planned, and now they missed the Rumble. They didn't get the spot done, so maybe
it's over.
Chill on the New Day hate now because it ain't going anywhere.
Booker T made it sound like that was his last ever like wrestling appearance, which I think is a complete lie. So,
and Kofi fucked it up for him.
Yeah, Kofi fucking up the spot. We're never gonna get that match. I thought we were gonna get Harlem Heat versus New Day for the NXT tag titles at Stand and Deliver, but I guess that's just not the route we're going.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see the? Well, I know you have because I've told you about this a million times in the last like 3 days, but WWE and NXT posting Black History Month on their social media, and the internet, the wrestling internet world being like, whoa, why is Sol Ruca in this photo? And then everyone has to be like, she had to post a photo being like, yo, my dad's black. Like, can you stop asking me this this question? Which then everyone's like, whoa, what? And like it was just a funny like internet wrestling thing where a lot of people are like, Sol Ruca's now she's the best. Booker as champ, like do this, do that. And I mean, we've been saying that already. So Booker.
And then that led to us after a few tequilas singing any song that has soul in and being
hey,
like,
Sol Ruca.
I got soul, but I'm not Sol Ruca.
Funk Sol Ruca, check it out now. Soul Sister.
Wind it, crank it, Sol Ruca and Superman that hoe.
Wow.
You've got to at Poison Rana Pod, give us some Sol Ruca songs.
Sol Ruca should be women's champ by the end of the year. That's all I'm saying. I absolutely love her. So I was upset she wasn't on the show here today, but yeah. We go to our next match, and it is the tag team fatal 4-way match, meaning Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, the New Day, putting the tag titles on the line against 3 other teams. You know what that means? That means there's way more % of a chance that they lose the titles in this match. They're defending the titles against Chase U, Andre Chase, and Duke Hudson, which I did not realize this was a homecoming for Chase. Yeah. I did not know Chase U was in North Carolina. All this time I thought it was in Florida.
Well, Andre Chase is a North Carolinian boy. Yeah, I mean, if we'd have known that, we'd have probably called Andre Chase winning at the tag match the other day. But yeah, this is a nice homecoming for him. Them saying Andre Chase has been to this arena many times and now performing there for the first time. And obviously, this guy has been kicking around on the indies for a long time. We've seen him when we did those Evolve shows and stuff. So pretty cool moment for Andre Chase, I thought.
Very teachable moment. They have a video outside the arena, and it's like the night before earlier, and it's Duke, Thea, and Chase, and they're freezing outside, and he's giving them a pep talk, and he says, we're here. And then he mentions the great Michael Jordan, North Carolina, says, heart is what separates the good from the great. Now let's go, as they go into the arena, and Chase U gets a hometown. It's almost like you hear boos for Chase, but it's not, because it's you.
Yeah.
So it's really funny because it's like, what, are they booing him? No, they're not. Pretty Deadly are also in this match. They come out wearing some pretty gear. there's got some like diamonds and like almost like Ric Flair
They
cape
got the
style
wings, haven't
entrance.
they?
Yeah, it's all about the wings. Then they're also going up against, oh yeah, these guys are in the match. Gallus.
I just
Fucking
realized
Gallus.
we seen Joe Coffey since Gallus have come back? Because you had like Thea Hale out there with Chase U. I'd have thought Joe would have been with Mark and Wolfgang, but I don't think we've seen him at all since their return. So
No, we only got the decaf coffee with what's
yeah,
this? Who's this one in? Who's this one? That
Mark.
Mark Coffee. Okay, so we celebrated Burns Night the other week, which is like the Scottish St. Patrick's Day, and we went out and then we were hanging out with a bunch of Scottish people, and then we ran later that day or the day after we ran into one of our friends who is from Ireland, and we were talking about Burns Night, and our Irish friend was like, "Oh, how you going to like Burns Night now? Like it's all about St. Patrick's Day." Like he was joking, and I joked to our Irish friend, like, hey, Davie's British. We celebrated Scottish things. We celebrate Irish things. Like, why can't why can't the Irish and the Scottish and the British just all get along? Like, I'm joking. And he's like, he looks at me like, you fucking, like, do you not know like history? I'm like, I'm joking. But I realized Scottish
Braden,
people,
and I apologize
yeah,
to all our friends.
everyone across the world.
Yeah.
But what I noticed is like Scottish people and Irish people, if you like say like, oh, like, are you Irish or Scottish or vice versa? They get a little upset that you like, how dare you think I'm Irish when I'm Scottish and vice versa. But then fucking Gallus, who are Scottish, come out wearing Fit Finley's gear. So I was like, why are you dressed like the leprechauns when I'm confused if you're Scottish or Irish?
I was thinking the same. I mean, their lights are green, aren't they? Green seems to be their color.
Yeah.
Yeah, very odd. I don't I'm trying to remember football team's colors. It might be the colors of their football team, I think, perhaps. I don't know if they're Rangers or Celtic. I'd have to do some research.
See, like I'm just a Canadian lad who, like, from across the pond here is just like, you're confusing me a little bit. Like, I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to support, but you're dressing in shamrock colors and gear that I'm like, okay, well then are you Irish? I'm not sure, but I digress. Definitely the least of my problems by the end of this match. So Fatal 4-Way kicks off here. New Day putting the titles on the line. Booker T goes back into hating the New Day thing really quick here. Andre chases in and starts to wrestle Mark Coffey, and he starts getting the best of him and tells him that was a teachable moment. Wolfgang and Mark Coffey gain the advantage, and him and Wolfgang start tagging in and out and hitting double team moves and backbreakers. Eventually, Kofi Kingston comes in. He cleans house, clearing everyone. There's drop kicks, throwing everyone out of the ring. I found that the crowd, like I mentioned, after that first match that opened the show, they seemed a little like worn out, like they were like spent kind of early. I wouldn't say it was until the New Day came out that that was the only like real stars that they kind of like connected to, and that goes back to they might just be fans of WWE who assumed WWE was coming and bought tickets, and they're the only like name that's been on the loops for years. But
I think so.
I found that
they're a huge act, the New Day, so they were going to get a huge reaction. I did just double check. Yes, Celtic are from Glasgow and Gallus are from Glasgow, and Celtic's kit is green and yellow. So I imagine they were going for the football thing. But I can understand to a North American how it might.
To a stupid North American who could not understand that Scottish people and Irish people could be somewhat different. I apologize, but they just look like they raided Fit Finley's closet from WCW all those years ago. There's a SOS from Kofi for a near fall as it's broken up. Pretty Deadly are now in the match, and they hit a series of moves, including like a double gut buster for near falls. There's a backbreaker stomp combo from Woods and Kofi on Kit for a near fall. Chase then is up top and throws Kofi Kingston off the turnbuckle to the outside onto everyone, and then suplexes is it Elton Prince onto everyone onto the outside. This was a pretty sweet spot, and the crowd definitely woke up for this and were cheering for Andre Chase and Chase you. Pretty Deadly though, however, as all of the guys are like brawling ringside, it looks like Andre Chase and Duke Hudson are like getting really hyped that they take the the top off the ring and the commentary desk, you know, like when you throw the thing off and you're about to put someone through the commentary table. When like the brawling keeps happening that they never get to use the table, that when Pretty Deadly come ringside, they put the piece of the table back on and they fix all the commentary and they look at Vic and Book and they're like, don't worry, we got you.
I thought that was great.
Howled. And Booker T on commentary is like, yo, man, I appreciate that. So I was dying. They're like, don't worry, we got you. We're not going to use this table. We're good lads. Because Booker's been on Pretty Deadly's side for the past few weeks. So
which I think hilarious.
I thought this was hilarious.
You would never think Booker and Pretty Deadly would be
Pretty Deadly
a match. But like it works. Booker like just loving these guys. And I've never seen that before. People putting the table back together. I thought it was great. Very funny.
Look, Pretty Deadly. The wrestling for me is pretty just there, but comedy and timing, these guys definitely very impeccable. So eventually Gallus removed the table again and double team Duke Hudson, like double choke slamming him through this table here. Andre chases in the ring and gets Mark Coffey down and hits the Chase U stomps, and the crowd are definitely biting here, giving the hometown boy his flowers here. He hits a crossbody off the top and then a figure four in North Carolina, Flair country. But Wolfgang breaks it up with this like senton bomb. They then hit this like power slam combo. And I thought to myself, wow, I hope that's not their double team finishing move, because it looks like absolute ass. But boy, was I wrong. However, it's broken up. Pretty Deadly hit Kofi with spilt milk on the outside. It's all breaking down. Woods is up top. He gets caught in the ring, and Gallus hit their shitty finisher again, the kick power slam combo. And in a shocking upset, Gallus lads on top. Gallus win the match and are your new NXT Tag Team Champions, as all the air gets sucked out of the Spectrum Center and you could watch it and hear it happen in real time, which was a complete shock to me. And I think just the absolute wrong move here, especially with Andre Chase. By the end of this match, this entire crowd were eating out of him and Duke's hands, and they went with Wolfgang and the coffee guy.
Yeah, I mean, we said pretty much anyone but Gallus when we were running through this show on Tuesday, and they just don't hit for me at all. You say the finish looks weak. I imagine what Gallus Creed's down the line, or whether you might want to look at turning Pretty Deadly babyface. I mean, Pretty Deadly's an act I could see showing up on the Monday after Mania. Showing up on Raw. I think that would be a fresh tag team for the main roster. I think the main roster ready at this point. So maybe they want to keep them away from the titles and you go Creed's Gallus for some big lads wrestling. But really, really disappointing. I thought the match was fun enough. It was one of your typical kind of WWE four-way tag matches. A lot of chaos going on, some fun spots, some cool stuff on the outside, like that superplex on top of everyone, the table spot, the spilt milk on the floor. But surprised, we were saying we think they're doing this multi-tag match, so New Day don't take the pin. But Woods actually being pinned here, Gallus getting the pin on New Day, which was surprising to me. But I can't say I'm interested in a Gallus tag run. They're going to really need to step up to win me over at this point.
Yeah, what dirt do Gallus have on Shawn Michaels? Does Shawn Michaels just really love the same footy team or something? Like, I just don't get it. Out of all the scenarios of all the teams, why wasn't Malik and Idris in that spot? It just seemed like Gallus was randomly put in that slot when those two have been the ones that have been busting their ass every week, and they weren't even on the show. They weren't even in that picture in the PC. With the rest of the crew. That's how left off this show they were, Idris and Malik, when they've been killing it. And I don't want to knock Gallus. I'm sure they had their good stuff. I thought this match was pretty fun, but very upsetting considering like instant taking all the excitement out of this tag team division. I don't think we are expecting New Day to stay here in NXT for very long, but to lose them to Gallus was definitely not the route that I think we were all expecting this to go. It's just boring. They're just boring. That move looks terrible.
Yeah.
That finishing move was so bad. And we didn't even get the, after Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns at the Rumble match, we had the epic angle afterwards with Sami Zayn, the 5-star angle. We didn't get that with Duke and Chase here?
We can't keep them together. They're so much fun as a team. I don't want to see Duke turn at this point. I think he's doing the best work in his WWE run so far.
I think WWE should have went with Chase U on this. Being the fan that I'm not one to be like, oh, I wish the outcome of this was a lot different. I genuinely think they took not even a rare L, an L giving this to Gallus here.
You could have if Gallus is the direction, you could have had Gallus beat Chase U on Tuesday even. But I think it would have been nice for this crowd and for like the work Chase U's been putting in, because like it's not just us. Like I know John Pollock loves Chase U. Like it's a lot of people are really behind this team. And I think the big stage, North Carolina with Andre Chase, I think you could have given them that moment tonight and then kind of done it. It didn't need to be a long run. If you want to end up having a heel team for the Creed to take it off of, sure. But I thought it was the wrong move last night.
Gallus boys on top. Yeah, I guess the end game is Creed's at Stand and Deliver in some way, shape, or form. We go to a recap of Nikita Lyons and her injury. She's had successful surgery, but she's going to be out for many months. And then a recap of the attack we saw this week with Mackenzie basically doing her best 2020 Dateline impersonation of breaking down the parking lot attack here. And it's now a who's done it, who shot JR, who took out Nikita Lyons in the parking lot. Only time will tell as the storyline continues. And I'm sure we won't find out for months, but it's okay. We also, I don't know, I was watching on the network feed, but there was a commercial for this new Netflix show about luchadors, these women luchadors, and Rey Mysterio has a cameo in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'm watching it. It has take all my money. Take all my money right now. Rey Mysterio, Netflix, and luchadors. Yeah, I'm good. Marvel is AAA is doing a Marvel Netflix show. Is this related to that? I don't think so. But AAA have been posting like in conjunction with Marvel, they have a show coming out. And I'm interested to see the Marvel AAA stuff in the past has been really weird and wonky with like what Brian Cage and stuff like that. But I don't know. I've been seeing this like poster.
It would be on Disney, wouldn't it?
Sorry, it's on Disney. Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. I guess like Disney Plus Mexico. Can we use a VPN to access it here? But interesting. I'd be interested to give some thoughts on it when it comes out. I'll be checking it out for sure. But I didn't catch the show of this. Is it Against the Ropes with the luchadors? I'm gonna watch it for sure.
We need Dominic to appear to take out Ray in this show as well.
No, we need a clip. The clip is him when he was on set and he's attacked by Dominic.
Yes, exactly.
We see Grayson Waller backstage. He's getting ready for his match tonight. He's got a golden shoe because he says tonight it's just a gold colored Nike, but he says that if he wins tonight, it's going to be a glorious shoey. It would be cool if, he ever does become like a champion or whatever and have an actual shoe like made out of, gold plated something. It would be nice, but he's ready for his match later tonight. But we go to our next match. A triple threat, if you want to call it that, or a 2-on-1 handicap match. The women's championship on the line. The champ, Roxanne Perez, the prodigy, going up against Gigi Dolin and Jacy Jayne. Toxic Attraction. Yes, Toxic Attraction lives on without Mandy Rose. And here they are in a match that they promise that one of them will walk out as champion. This match starts off with both the heels just double teaming. It's pretty much just a 2-on-1 beatdown for the first big chunk of this match. Roxy eventually fights out of this and starts flying at them with Fez presses and just keeps trying to fight out of any double team attacks that they keep trying to hit with her. Eventually, Gigi and Jacy start to bicker. Can they coexist? They start to argue and fight, and Gigi pulls Jayne to take like the bullet from Roxanne hitting this like tope suicida, so you can tell that Gigi was using Jayne here. They start fighting in the ring and hitting a series of roll-ups, and Roxanne starts countering for near falls. Eventually, Jacy's back in. They hit double suplexes, a double super kick, and then they headbutt each other, and both of them are all down. I hate any of this in wrestling when it's like the triple threat, but the two of them are like trying to not fight each other. It's like, it's a match, just wrestle. Jacy and Gigi decide to get back on the same page when Gigi, you know, she was waiting to do this. She says, Jacy, get the tables. So the crowd popped for it. Jacy grabs a table. They set it up. But in the ring, Perez hits pop rocks on Gigi and eventually sends her through the table, like off the apron, sending Gigi flying through the table. And then eventually hits a super pop rocks on Jacy Jayne, and she gets the 1, 2, 3. And in a shocker, I think everyone was so shocked that Roxanne Perez retains the title in 14 minutes, 42 seconds. And I'll jump in right now. I thought this was my least favorite match on this show. And I kind of said, I don't like the story of the 2 versus 1 in a triple threat. And I just didn't think a lot of it really clicked for me until maybe the last final moments when it kind of felt like everyone was on the same page. But not my favorite match.
I thought it was okay. I think it was one of the better matches for Gigi and Jacy, but I think we know Roxanne is capable of more. I actually really liked the finish with the pop rocks on the floor to Dolin. It looked like her head just bounced off the mat there. And then like the table spot with the super pop rocks. I like the finish. It was just all, we knew what we were going to see going into this. We knew they were going to work together, then they were going to argue, then they were going to fight each other, and ultimately Roxanne was going to win. Some cool spots. I didn't hate it, but it didn't do a whole lot for me either. But now we need Roxanne to move on to some more like legitimate threats, I think.
Yeah, I think an actual feud, even a TV feud, just right away get her racking up some wins and make her a bit more. I just felt like this was such a lazy way and such a weird match to do on pay-per-view. I guess they didn't want to go to the Cora thing, and I guess there really isn't anyone else. You don't want to have, you know, Tiffany lose right away. There really isn't, I guess, anyone else for her to fight down here. So yeah, don't really know what you do with Gigi and Jacy at this point, but yeah, I did not like this match. Booker was happy though that Roxanne won. I love how he's like, yo, I'm impartial. Yeah. I'm impartial. However, Roxanne, I hope she wins. Yeah. I hope she beats them. We go to our main event of the evening, the NXT World Championship on the line, the steel cage match. The challenger, Grayson Waller, he does a little bit of a Goldberg entrance when he's walking in the back, and he makes his entrance here, and he's got like gold boxer trunks on, and he's got a whole bunch of bottle girls. Think of when you go to a club and they got the girls.
They needed the sparklers coming out of it.
Sparklers. They were lacking the sparklers.
They were lacking the sparklers, but they did have like their LED lights they were waving around. But also Waller wearing Scott Steiner's chainmail to really stick the knife in Bron Breakker there.
Well, yeah, Waller, if you hear me. That's what he was doing. I love this chainmail thing. It looked great. What a troll.
I really like Grayson Waller at this point. I think he's come such a long way. I can see him down the line being a better Miz. And I think there's always a role for a Miz, you know, to do those celebrity crossover matches, to just be a shitty heel to get beaten up by a babyface you're building up. I think he's started to really grow in this Bron Breakker feud, and everything from the bottle girls to the shoey to the Scott Steiner chainmail, I thought worked really well for him with this entrance.
I saw on Twitter that all these bottle girls are actually like some of the new PC signees. Gotcha. So they made use of their entrance attire here. I thought it was a pretty funny entrance with them coming out with the bottles of champagne, getting ready. It would be good if, I guess, because they wanted to pour it in the shoe. Like, because then the one girl has the shoe like on the pillow, right? Like, I got this golden shoe. So I'd imagine when he does win that they pour all the champagne in the shoe and drink it. You would imagine he would want to wrestle in the golden shoes and then take out the shoe and then drink out of. That's how, you know, real Australians, shout out Thicky Bird, tells me that it's not a real shoey unless you actually wear the shoe.
You need first, the sweat, the grime, the toenail cheese. You need the lot of it in there, right?
Some Australian toe cheese. So Grayson Waller is in the ring, and out comes the champion, Bronn Breakker. He comes down to the ring. He is ready. Big reaction for Bronn here. And he comes down to the ring. He also is wearing some Vengeance Day gear. He's wearing like this pinkish purple Steiner Brothers throwback singlet. We've seen Bronn like revamp his family gear before, but it looked pretty cool.
Not the
But
best
during
Bron
the
Breakker entrance, considering this is like a big stage.
Yeah.
It was just him kind of punching through a paper poster of Grayson Waller. I was expecting something a bit bigger for the champ here on this show.
Yeah, like considering Melo got this pretty sweet entrance, Bronze was kind of weak considering he's the champion. Like by the time Carmelo Hayes has a WrestleMania, like he will, and when he has a WrestleMania entrance, Carmelo Hayes is gonna have a pretty sweet one. Bronn is just running out of things to break.
I think so.
Like what else can you do? He should have ripped the shoe. If he should have been.
Well, he
like
should have
that.
done the shoe
Bronn
at the end.
Wow, the disrespect. Bronn is attacked when he's almost nearing the ring here, and Waller attacks him, and they start to brawl around the cage, around the ring, and finally get in the ring. And Waller is putting the boots to Bronn here. He hits this satellite DDT for a near fall. Eventually, Bronn comes back and hits the running power, the catching pop-up power slam, and then the bulldog off the top rope, but Waller kicks out. Waller fights back and hits his jumping unprettier, and Booker T is like, whoa, that move looked incredible. What do we call that? And Vic made the joke like, oh, he made him unprettier, but then kind of didn't want to dive into that. And Booker's like, nah, I'm going to call that move the surfboard. And Vic's like, all right, I'll let you write that one down. Bronn has Waller up top and hits a Frankensteiner for a near fall. Bronn goes up again, but is hit with a high pop-up knee from Waller. And then he climbs up, not the full cage, but like the rope part where the cage is, and jumps off with his elbow drop, but Bronn kicks out of that. He eventually locks Bronn into the ropes and ties him up, but Bronn is so strong that he escapes from this, but ends up getting a low blow, and then the rolling stunner move. He couldn't do it from outside the ring, so instead he just does a roll, a roll into a stunner. Still looks ridiculous.
It hurts more.
But as he lays out Bronn here, he's like, I could pin him. But instead, Vic Joseph says on commentary, Grayson Waller wants his social media moment. So Waller scales the cage, and Booker's like, yep, that's what this is all about, social media. And I was like, that's really weird. This is a world title match. Waller jumps off the top. Oh, sorry, he's about to jump off the top, but Bronn jumps up and climbs up to the top, superplexing him kind of off the top, from the top turnbuckle at least. And Waller sells it like he's absolutely dead, and starts to plead with Bronn, saying, I'm sorry, please stop the beatdown, please. And Bronn says, this is my dog pound, as he spears Waller. He then picks him up again and says, I run NXT. This is my dog pound. Spears him again, and Bronn Breakker pins Grayson Waller to retain the NXT title in 14 minutes, 25 seconds. What did you think?
Ate that last spear. I thought that last spear looked great.
The last one, yeah.
Interesting as well, they said it was no escape. The only way to win this match was pinfall and submission. So more the kind of old classic cage match, which I think in a way worked against Waller, because you often have that kind of chicken shit heel, trying to escape and stuff. I thought the match was all right. I kind of wanted to see Waller hit that elbow just would look cool to jump off. I thought this was a fine main event, but wasn't my match of the night. Just a real dominating win for Bronn here, but it was okay.
Yeah, it didn't piss me off or anything like that, but it definitely didn't blow me away. It was pretty middle of the road. It felt very paint by numbers house show cage match, to be honest. Like, okay, throw him into the cage here. Okay, now hit your move. Okay, you're going to tease that you're going to do a jump, but actually it's just going to be a superplex that we hit from the same height anyways. So it's kind of, yeah, all right. Nothing really too spectacular.
it felt restricted by the cage, I thought, where I think we have seen some cage matches which has actually used the stipulation really well and has made it more exciting. Whereas I definitely felt they felt a little handcuffed by the cage stipulation here.
Yeah, I think we all wanted Bronn to retain. I mean, I was joking that, Vengeance Day, St. Valentine's Day Massacre, they could have replicated where Bronn is so angry that he throws him through the cage, but they did say like no escape kind of thing, so that definitely kiboshed that idea. But Bronn versus Melo's the big match. I get Bronn winning, obviously. I think everyone saw that coming, but the match itself was fine.
I did enjoy some of Waller's tactics in the match, like luring Bronn in for some of those spears where he went into the cage. I also really like Waller's mock of the bark. He did like a oh 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 for like Bron Baker's row row row, which I thought was quite
yeah
fun.
Yeah, pretty standard match. Definitely not Bronn's best, but overall, I still enjoyed this whole show. I still think the opening match can put you in such a good mood when you watch a wrestling show, because you're like, okay, this is pretty good. There wasn't much that topped it for me. I did like some of the wrestling with Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews, but I didn't think the match kind of got to the level that we were expecting. But overall, still a fun, pretty fun show to watch. Nothing like really pissed me off. Maybe that triple threat match got me a little grumpy, but other than that, I was pretty fun
I just
show.
like the Apollo Mello match more than the women's match.
Yeah,
I hated that, to be honest. But
more than you hated that more than the triple threat.
Yeah, because of the potential. I think the women's triple threat was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I was like, okay, it didn't take too long either. Whereas I just thought I thought Mello Apollo was a bit of a mess and a real letdown considering the talent involved. But overall, I'm with you. I quite enjoyed the show. I thought it moved at a good pace. And yeah, I think there are definitely some standouts there in NXT. I feel we're at the moment now. I feel like we're kind of at that 2014 takeover level. I don't think we're at the glory era of where we're going to Brooklyn and all that sort of stuff yet. But I think we're at more of that kind of Full Sail, really solid kind of takeovers where you're seeing some promising young talent. You're mixing up with a little bit of main roster. I definitely think NXT is in a much better spot than it was this time last year going into Stand and Deliver. And considering when you look, and we're saying there wasn't a Cora Jade on this show, there wasn't Creed Brothers on this show, there wasn't Malik and Idris on this show. There's a lot of good talent. Axiom, Tyler Bate, JD McDonough. There's a lot of good names down there in NXT that weren't even featured on this. So I have been a little higher on NXT the last couple of months, and I thought this was solid enough. And I loved that opening match. I thought Wes Lee and Dijak really delivered there.
I still think I like that Axiom Tyler Bate match more than anything on this show. I said it after I watched it. I was like, I don't think anything this show will top that for me. And I still enjoyed watching this thing. I think NXT can get out of the rut. I think going towards Stand and Deliver, I think NXT is slowly getting the stink off of it, because you keep hearing, if you're not someone who doesn't watch week to week, you might be hearing like, oh, well, this match was good, or hey, some of these things were good. Like Wes and Dijak is definitely worth checking out. Absolutely would recommend. They killed it here tonight, and I hope Dijak's okay with that broken finger, man, because that looked pretty nasty. But like, Stand and Deliver, if Mello Bronn is the big match that they are going to, like, yeah, I'd be pretty hyped for that. I imagine Creed's Gallus as well, maybe a ladder match. Who knows?
I don't know, because there was a line at the end of the show. Mello comes out to kind of like confront Bron Breakker, which is leading you to believe that's the next match. But Vic Joseph on commentary said, did we just see Breakker's last roadblock on the road to Stand and Deliver? Which insinuated that Mello is going to be his next match before Stand and Deliver. I mean, they can always do a TV special where that's the main event and run it back at the PLE. But I just found that wording interesting, because I'm with you. I assumed that would be the main event, but just that line from Vic think maybe they have something else in mind.
I don't know what else you would do. I would have Bronn have, a TV program or two to have another defense and stuff like that. But I would imagine it's Creed's Gallus. I would imagine it's Melo Bronn. I don't know, some sort of multi-tag match or North American kind of, they're going to do a ladder match. They're going to do a multi-man ladder match at this show. And I imagine maybe Cora Jade, Roxanne rematch there. But yeah, I would hope that Melo and Bronn is the big match for Stand and Deliver. It makes the most sense. There is some feedback from some people, some listeners here that we can read and get some thoughts from you guys on Vengeance Day. And I will start here. Join the Poisonrana Facebook group. We'll let any of you strangers in, and we share memes and posts and feedback threads such as this. Megan writes in. He says, so glad that this roster is out of the warehouse. Dijak and Lee was takeover level and match of the night. If all NXT pay-per-views allow one work rate match, I'm game. James and Henley and Chance Carter was a strong follow-up match. Melo Apollo was good, but I did expect it to go all three falls, but Melo sweeping it was definitely by design. More on that in a second. Chase U is over like Rover, and I don't want to see Hudson turn on Andre. Roxanne put Toxic Attraction out to pasture. I'll be seeing them on the main roster in short order. Bron Breakker is in Siino wins lull territory. Despite another performance in the cage match, Waller's a great dickhead heel. The ending spelled out Stand and Deliver's main event, and this is the one shot Melo can't miss on April 1st. The PC can't replicate the big arena atmosphere Vengeance Day had. A strong show. So Megan, a big fan of Vengeance Day here with some great points.
We go to Fire Frank, who says it was really nice to see NXT in a real arena with a nice big crowd. Dijak stays having big NXT special matches with a guy with the last name Lee. This was Wes' big coming out party as a singles guy in NXT, and wouldn't have felt out of place on a classic takeover. Was shocked to see Gallus win, but I assume it's to transition the titles to a face team at Stand and Deliver. Creeds, Jacy, a face turned pretty deadly. The Kiana Fallon pairing is continuing to click as they are pulling a Sting and Luger act as James can't help but resort to heel tactics behind Fallon's back. And it was time for Kayden and Katana to drop the title. Melo Cruz was solid, and Melo going over strong was a good call. And yes, I popped for Daba Babatunde Aziz, almost as loud as Leone and Brandon. Roxanne was put over pretty strong. Bronn systematically destroying Waller in the cage was a pretty good main event. That last spear was extra vicious. But the post-match with Melo and Trick walking out was the true story here to finally set that big match up. P.S. I'm a little bummed Bronn didn't do the golden shoey to stick it to Waller.
Golden shoey. That kind of sounds weird. Australians seem to be into some weird shit, man. Golden shoeys. I don't want to know. We go to Cameron Starr, who says, strong show. Dijak versus Lee was fantastic. Great underdog performance after being dominated for a while. Felt like his best title defense. Also, Roxanne looked great in her defense. I'm not crazy about Gallus, but Gallus and the Creeds could be a big match. Watching the Creeds throw them around is a fresh matchup, or do the title change on a weekly show in the Creeds versus Alpha Academy at Stand and Deliver. Wow, that would be pretty good. He continues, everything else was decent. Nothing was bad on this show. I wasn't crazy about this match card, but I felt every talent on it worked really well. I hope the build for Stand and Deliver is gold. Melo v. Bronn, Tiffany or Cora versus Roxanne. Sign me up. Hope you're both well. Thanks as always for being our NXT friends. Thank you, Cameron.
And finally, we go to Sean, who says, Vengeance Day was a great show and a welcome return to the road with a strong card from beginning to end. Wes Lee and Dijak delivered the match of the night right off the bat with an absolute banger that made me think back to the days when Dijak would routinely steal the show with another guy named Lee. And Wes Lee just seems to get better and better every time he goes out there. The end of the women's tag title match was a surprise, but a welcome one as it gave the champs a gripe, furthering the story between Kiana and Fallon. Four-way tag title was a great car crash where everyone got their chance to shine. I'm more of a Gallus fan than most, so didn't mind them winning. It sets up for a potential challenge face team like Creed's, or dare I say it, Chase U. Melo v Apollo had some great moments, but I felt like the end was flat. Having Dabo Kato return help Cruz, then immediately turn on him, was confusing and felt like too much. Melo still looked dominant, which I guess was the whole point. The whole triple threat match made Roxanne look strong, defending her title, while Gigi and Jacy did a great job to end their toxic partnership. Both will be better off on their own. The main event was good, but I was disappointed they didn't make better use of the cage. especially after announcing that escaping the cage wouldn't end the match. Bronn is definitely talented, but never really seems to be in peril, which is pushing him into Super Cena, Big Dog, Roman territory. Something needs to change to keep the crowd from turning on him. Also, kudos to the Charlotte crowd for starting hot and staying up for the whole show. It was nice to hear big pops and reactions for talents like Wes, Roxanne, and Chase U from a much larger audience. Looking forward to the road to Stand and Deliver.
Whew, yeah, stand and deliver in a few months. It's going to be exciting. NXT is back, baby. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was Vengeance Day. We hope you're having a great Vengeance Day wherever you may be. Appreciate you listening to us talk about it for a little while. We usually do Poisonrana here on Sunday, talking about other things. Is there any other bits and bobs you want to discuss before we hit the old dusty trail?
I haven't had a chance to see SmackDown yet, but I do want to watch that closing Sammy Roman angle. It's definitely that story's had my interest. AEW again was an incredible show this week. That Darby Joe main event, just ridiculous. I just worry for Darby.
Hangman Mox. I mean, Hangman Mox was
as well.
Awesome. I don't know what the gimmick match is going to be at the pay-per-view because the clothesline only match. I don't know what.
Yeah, because it ended with like
a
roll up essentially, like and Mox was like mad that it didn't really feel like a proper win. I just thought top to bottom a really strong Dynamite this week, but I think wrestling's in a good place right now. You know, NXT after this show, the last few months we've been having a regular like pretty standout match on NXT TV every week. I think NXT's in a better position. Main roster WWE definitely in a better position with this Sammy Roman angle, the whole bloodline thing going on, and then AEW just killing it every week. I think it's starting to be a good time to be a wrestling fan again.
Yeah, I thought AEW was a stellar thing. Samoa Joe is like a few years ago, he's wearing a poncho, and now he feels like his career has just been like revitalized with this feud with Darby.
Yeah.
I would imagine they separate them for a while, but like you got to go back to that match eventually, and it will definitely have people's attention because they definitely found great dance partners with it. Just felt like Samoa Joe of old again, instantly wrestling that dude. But I'm excited for their pay-per-view going forward. I'm bummed we didn't get the Kota Ibushi Bryan Danielson graphic yet, but you know, maybe there's still time. I'm hoping we see him at the Revolution pay-per-view in some way, shape, or form. I mean, we will be seeing him WrestleMania weekend on some of those GCW shows, so I do think we will see Kota wrestle in AEW more sooner rather than later.
I'm trying to remember, did they mention Bryan's next opponent?
Yes, it is Roosh.
Okay, yeah, that could be good. Just have Roosh beat him
awesome.
and then abandon the Iron Man match and do Danielson Ibushi. And Takeshita MJF rematch at the pay-per-view. Why not?
Takeshita MJF this week as well. Sounds good. We didn't see Roosh's brother, Dragon Lee, sitting in the crowd here. It wasn't a takeover because there was no one sitting in the front row. Apparently, Dragon Lee is having visa issues. That's why he hasn't shown up quite yet in WWE. What's with wrestlers and visa issues lately? It seems that's such a thing. Dragon Lee coming into WWE. There was people talking about the NXT allowing their stars and talent to do indie dates, and that was like instantly shut down by Shawn Michaels, who in like media scrums, I think after Vengeance Day, basically saying like, no, that's not the case. We're letting, I think it's Ivy Niles doing one of Booker T's reality of wrestling shows, and that's just like a special thing. I'm wondering if there was like some like agreement or something like that. So don't think you're going to be seeing Gigi Dolin or any of our favorite NXT wrestlers show up at like Bola or something in the next little while.
It wouldn't be a bad idea for NXT to find like their indie promotion that they do send their talent to, because we know that helped when they used to send people to Evolve. Like, look how much like your Fabian Eichners and your Street Profits improved after going to Evolve for a little bit. So
yeah,
it wouldn't be a bad idea to do, but as you said, Sean's shut it down.
Yeah, it would be like it definitely worked in the past. Right now, I just don't know if it would. Like I think them doing their own house shows and doing more on the road shows is definitely what would help people learn like the going through the motions and having different crowds and stuff like that. It's definitely cool. But yeah, no indie dream crossover Forbidden Doors with NXT in the near future, apparently, to Shawn Michaels. Also in the media scrum after the pay-per-view, Grayson Waller interrupted Shawn Michaels and was very hot at him, like very angry, and was getting in his face and almost trying to fight him. So maybe that's Grayson Waller's stand and deliver match. Shawn
Grayson
Michaels.
Waller, Shawn Michaels, book it. Why not?
Get him out of retirement one more time. And
You have Michaels go for the super kick. Waller catches the boot,
takes
pulls it off, and does
Chewy.
a shoey from it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm sorry, I love you. Yeah, why not?
Book it. So yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. The Sami Zayn bloodline storyline is great. Sami and Roman at the Chamber will be awesome. Obviously, can't wait for that. That should be sweet. And you know, WrestleMania season. It's a hot time to be into wrestling. I'm excited. Lots of things going on, and we'll chat about some more of it. We will be going live. I mentioned after NXT on Tuesday on the post feed. I will be joined by John Siino. Talk all about NXT, but next Sunday we will be going live on our Poisonrana YouTube and our feed there to talk all about the wrestling of the week. So you will be back and we'll be discussing that over on our feed on Sunday. But go follow us on our socials and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter at Poisonrana Pod for all the updates and fun little things that we post. And hey, if you like us, we do a lot of other shows, including Best Match Ever, Stephanie McMahon, Davie, myself, and Maddie Edwards chatting all about the best Stephanie moments, matches, and so much more for 2 hours discussing a playlist of the greatest Steph moment. Man, it was a whole lot of fun watching back Stephanie McMahon weddings and moments. And we also have another retro NXT. We do a show called Was Next, where we look back at old NXT. Right now, we're in the end of 2013. What else do we have? We have a few other shows. We just did a review of Battle Royale. That was out on the Patreon.
Yeah, I had a great Muta best match ever with WH Park, as he's obviously on his retirement tour right now. February schedules.
WH Park?
Sorry, what did I say?
He's on WH is on his retirement tour? I would hope
yes.
so.
Oh. But more stuff coming out. We've got more movie reviews coming out this February. Where we're finally tackling Lord of the Rings. Listeners picked this for us and we said we will get round to it. We just want to kind of try and find a week, a month where, you know, we have time to watch a 3-hour movie. And, well, it's happening in a couple of weeks on the Patreon. So looking at Fellowship of the Ring, as well as, we're going to be doing an old Chamber review, like one of the old Chamber pay-per-views later in the month. A lot coming up. And we will, I've been away this week, so we will get the schedule up shortly. But the beauty of Patreon now is you can sign up whenever. So you don't need to worry about what's happening this month. Just support us. If you want to listen, it's just $5. It gives you access to over 500 podcasts now at this point. You and I together, Braden, we've recorded almost 1,000 shows now. So, so much content for you to listen to for only $5 a month.
$5 a month to become a friend over on our Patreon, and you get access to so many podcasts. Go try it out, and we would love your feedback and support. We love your support. Thank you so much for listening here on the post feed. Go check us out on all the socials. Poisonrana.ca for everything. Myself, Braden Herrington. I am on Twitter, Instagram, and all that at the Bray D.
And you can find me at Davie Portman.
That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. Davie, I'm expecting some Cubanos when you come home.
Oh, I've already got one gift. I've got a couple of gifts for you. So yeah.
Cuban Dave,
yes.
Cuban Davie over here. So see you soon, good sir, and see all you good people. And man, I hope Dijak's finger is okay.
Yeah, look bad.
Yeah.
All right.
Buenos
noches, amigo.